Hi, hello, and welcome to the Rhabarber Knits podcast. My name is Lydia, and I love knitting and creating and celebrating ordinary things in life and finding joy every day. And I do share that on Instagram for years now and work as a content creator over there. So feel free to check that out if you want to see wanting and beautiful things. But for now, I'm here on YouTube, and this is one of my New Year's resolutions to get out of my comfort zone. So here we are on YouTube, and I want to talk about what I've finished knitting, what I'm currently knitting, and a couple of things I've acquired, as one does in a knitting podcast. And yeah, I hope you stick around and have fun watching. Let's get going. I'm gonna go from small to large with this portion of the video. I finished quite a few small things over the last weeks. I'm filming on the 11th of January, so I'm counting in the things I finished between Christmas and New Year's as well. And first off, I made this pair of penny gloves, a pattern by PetiteKnit. When my husband and I went back home to visit with family for Christmas, I sat there knitting those little gloves, and they are so fun. I'm excited to be able to wear them probably next month when my friend and I will go to Seoul, to South Korea, and I've heard it's pretty cold over there at this time of year. And I made them from 2 strands of Filcolana Alva held together, and I think I could actually get a second pair out of the 2 balls of yarn I got, and that makes it a very cheap project with the alpaca yarn. I think I paid around 8 euros for the 2 balls, and I used around half of them. So that's a fun little project. And another fun little project are these scrunchies. They are my own pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm going to link it down below. As with everything, if you're curious or want more information, please look down in the information bar below. And these are the croissant scrunchie, and I wrote up the pattern on Christmas Eve because I wanted a scrunchie made out of scrap yarn without sewing. I don't love sewing, so I trialed and errored and found a solution to having a no-sew scrunchie. And this is made out of a strand of fingering weight yarn held together with a strand of lace weight. So I used fingering sock yarn held together with a strand of mohair for those, and this is yarn from a sweater I'm currently knitting up, and it's so beautiful. I wanted a matching scrunchie. For now, the pattern is only available in German, but I plan on translating all my patterns in English eventually, and I hope you'll be patient or you do speak German. If you do, viel Spaß beim Stricken und verlinkt mich gerne, wenn ihr es teilt. Yeah, sorry for that, but croissant scrunchie, perfect little gift idea and perfect to use up any scraps. Another thing I knitted up quite as a spur of the moment thing was this beautiful hot water bottle cover. This is a pattern by PaulaStrickt, who is a German knitwear designer, and I made it with 2 strands of drops alpaca bouclé held together and changed the neck of the bottle a little bit because I started knitting it in the afternoon and decided I need to have it finished by the time I go to bed because it's gonna be so cozy to have with me, and my husband wanted to go to sleep, so I had to hurry up a little. But this would again be a perfect gift idea for anyone who likes to be cozy. And yeah, it's been really easy and fun to knit up, and I learned something new, a new technique to me. The what is it called? Judy's Magic cast on, because this is not sewn together, it's the cast on edge actually here, and you knit up with magic loop for a little while and then in the round as it gets larger, and it was really easy. I thought it would be more daunting to do because I have the zipper sweater by PetiteKnit on my wish list to knit, and I was a bit afraid of the cast on, but now that I did it, I think I'm going to tackle that project. So you might see it in an upcoming podcast. And next up, I have this beautiful Sophie scarf I made on my birthday, actually. That's also in December. And I saw my friend Merino, who also has a very lovely knitting podcast here on YouTube, and is just a very dear friend of mine. And she made a lot of Sophie scarves for her friends and family for Christmas, and she rolled them up into little croissants and posted pictures of them, and it was just so darling to see that I wanted my own croissant. And I made this scarf, and I made the larger size of the pattern. It's by PetiteKnit, and I think I even added a few more rows to the largest pattern. And I think this is the perfect scarf for large jackets that are very bulky but not close to the neck, and your neck will get cold and you don't want to wear a large scarf in addition to a large jacket, or just to add a bit more style to your outfit. And the yarn I used, it was by Pascuali, I think, but I don't remember the kind of yarn. I'll write it down below. And I used one strand of Sandnes Tynn silk mohair that I had leftovers of, sounds like food, but I knitted something else and it was just leftover. Yeah, very nice project, very fast to knit up as well. I think it took me less than 24 hours, and perfect gift again. A larger project I finished on New Year's Eve is this Novice Cardigan chunky edition, also by PetiteKnit. I swear I do knit other things than her patterns, but I had other plans for this yarn at first, but then I thought actually I could really use a warm chunky cardigan, and I used drops yarn for this. It's Karisma, which is a very thick wool held together with one strand of their kid silk mohair in black, and the Karisma is a dark charcoal color. And I don't know if you can tell, but the color and the fabric is not flat out gray or black. It's, I don't know, I think it's kind of variegated perhaps, but it's just not flat, and I like that. And the drops, the buttons are also drops. One thing I did that I kind of regret is I grew very impatient to get started on the yoke, that I did the ribbing a bit too short, and you might be able to tell it's a bit misshapen right here because I cut up the cast on edge and attached a few stitches from the live stitches upwards, and you can tell that I did some kind of thing with the ribbing, but now it has the perfect length and I like wearing it a lot. But with my short hair now, you can kind of tell because my hair doesn't cover the neck any longer, but since it's such a dark color, it doesn't really matter and you can't really tell, so I'm happy anyways, and I'm happy either way. I think that will be the correct. Oh, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy. That's the gist of it. And I'm very excited to see how the drops yarn will wear, because you can see some pilling already and felting even perhaps, and it's just such a cheap yarn that I'd be very happy to find an alternative to all the more expensive yarns, and will report back on how it wears. And now onto my favorite thing that I finished this year, just 2 days ago. These are my first ever socks. Those are the vanilla socks, and I followed the pattern from TheCrazySockLady on Magic Loop. And the yarn I used is by a German hand dyer called Phoebe and Mercy. It's a beautiful pine green with this speckled nudie rose yarn with orange and green and grey and purple and yellow specks in it, and they are so nice. I'm currently barefoot because I'm going to put them on after I film this again, and I'm very, very happy with them and so proud that I did it. I was just so afraid to knit socks because I thought they'd be so difficult and so icky and such a high concentration piece of knitting that you really need to concentrate a lot on doing. And I'm usually a mindless knitter. I like knitting when I'm with friends, when I'm watching a TV series or anything, just to keep my hands moving, but I don't like to think about my knitting, and I felt like I didn't need to think with those and still got beautiful socks out of it. So I highly recommend her pattern that has timestamps to go with her YouTube video. I'm going to link everything below. So nice. So happy with these. And because I got hooked on socks, I already started my second pair of socks. These are again by TheCrazySockLady, but the DK weight version on 3.25mm needles. I'm using a yellow yarn by Raincloud and Sage, which is a yarn brand from Marburg, where I'm from. Such a lovely little thing. And this is a tweed yarn by Schachenmayr. It's the color number 2, and I have a 150 gram ball of this tweed, so I'm going to make a lot of socks out of it. And yeah, very nice to knit up, and this took me a day to knit. Yeah. Which leads us to what I'm currently working on, and I'm currently knitting the second sock. I'm already on the gusset. This is the heel, and this is the gusset area where I'm decreasing again for the foot, and I'm knitting on magic loop, as I said. And you might be able to see or tell that I'm not knitting continental, which would be assumed for German knitters, but I'm left-handed and I never got the gist of just sticking my left pointer finger out and hoping for the best, I guess. And I didn't learn to knit in Germany. I learned it actually in New Zealand when I lived there and went to school for a second, a billion years ago now. It will be 12 years this summer that I learned to knit. And yeah, this is what I'm currently working on. And another thing I'm currently working on is this Cumulus blouse. I finished the body, but it's too short. You might be able to tell I'm 5'9", I think, or 5'8", or 173 centimeters, and this is just too short, and I was just too over eager to do the I-cord edge that I stopped too early. And I need to do the second sleeve, but I hope to finish this in time for our trip to South Korea and bring it with me. This is knit in drops alpaca with a strand of drops kit silk, and the pattern is by PetiteKnit and calls for 2 strands of silk mohair, but I decided to do it differently this time around. This is the 4th Cumulus blouse I've done, so I'm very familiar with the pattern by now. I have one more project I'm currently knitting on, and this is the Sophie Shawl wrapped up in a little croissant, and it's in the size small, and it's so large already, and I'm knitting it on my beautiful new C-knit needles that I got last month, and I'm using 1 strand of drops kit silk again with 1 strand of Rico tweed, both in the color number 1, I think, and it's a very soft, very beautiful, very fluffy, and I'm very excited to wear this soon, hopefully. And as you might be able to tell with the sock, with the scarf, I'm in my tweed era currently and want everything in tweed because I love the little speckles, and this is a beautiful gift I got for my birthday from my friend Marlene, and now I have a project bag that I can fill with all my projects and knitting supplies. I might do a video in the future talking about knitting supplies I think are very worth investing in, or things that can wait, and maybe even some gift ideas for knitters. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. Other things I got this month are these templates or blocking things for socks in different sizes to knit socks on, because I'm sure I'll knit more socks in the future and gift them. It's very practical, I think, to have a template on how long the foot needs to be for different sizes. So highly recommend this if you're also hooked or caught in the world of sock knitting. And the last thing I got is this set of a ball winder and yarn spinning thing. This is where you put in your hank in this umbrella, and it spins, and then you can wind your hanks into a ball with this little contraption. It works really well. I've used it a few times by now and I'm happy I got it. So this is it for acquisitions. I did get some yarn this month just to finish up projects or when I didn't have enough over color, but I think next month will be when I show you more yarn. But before I leave this video, I want to mention two things. First off, there are so many lovely ladies that inspire me greatly on Instagram and YouTube, and their content is just so pleasing to look at, and their knits are just something to swoon over, and I'm very lucky to call a few of them my friends, and I'm gonna link them all down below, and would be very happy if you check them out and give them some love. And the second thing is this sweater, which is the Rhabarber sweater. So it's my own pattern and I'm so excited to share it with people, and for now it's only available in German, but as I said, I'll hopefully translate all my patterns into English very soon. And yeah, this is meant to be the perfect sweater for beginners, and if you want to knit your first garment, you can try this one if you want to, if you like it. I do have very many yarn recommendations in the pattern, so you're not stuck on only expensive yarns or hard to get yarns. There should be something for everyone. I used a yarn by We Are Knitters that I got gifted, kindly enough, when I did a workshop for them in Berlin, and I was so in love with the yarn. They used it as decor, the hanks of this twist and shout yarn in this color, that I held it in my hand all afternoon and stroked it and touched it because it's just so soft and it looks so itchy. And then the founders were so kind and they said, oh, you can keep all of the hanks of this kind of yarn and knit something up, and I did. So I don't know if this is technically sponsored, but I just thought it was very kind of them. I thought I would just quickly put it on and show you how it looks worn. And it's just such a nice sweater to wear, especially with this yarn. I think it's so soft and lovely on the skin. And if you like to knit this up, you can find the pattern on my Ravelry now. And with this, new hair, new sweater, new pattern, new YouTube, new year, I'm leaving this video, and I'm so happy you stuck around until the end, and hope you'll check in for the next video again and leave anything you want to tell me in the comments down below. I'm very appreciative of any feedback because this is so new to me. So thanks again and have a beautiful day. Bye bye.